I am not here to debate with anyone. I have devoted all of my adult life to this subject. I only debate with my equals. All others I teach.
I'm going to have to apologize for being late. Uh, I meant to do a live stream earlier last night, but since it's 4:26 a.m., I'm supposed to be doing a live stream around 11 o'clock or midnight. But oh well. So in this shorter time, I'm gonna explain something. What a live stream I meant to do. I don't like how propaganda is being fed, and people are, people trying to force people to have this simplistic idea that, oh, it's just about religion, or it's just about the people who are of the Judeo religion, the Jewish religion. And no, I will not say small hats. I will not say those stupid phrases like small hats and all that crazy nonsense. We're going to tell it for what it really is, right? So my thing is, is we got to tell the truth about the entire subject. What is this really about? What's going on in Iran is really more about control of a certain real estate. The land we call Palestine, the land we call Israel, is not just a little country by size of New Jersey, and they're surrounded by quote unquote enemies. It's much more than that. Israel and Palestine is a major trade route between the African, the Asian, and the European. That's what this is really about. This is more about securing land for a major trade route, because you also have to trade over land as well. It's not just ships and planes. It's also land. And Palestine and Israel both are smack in between three different continental groups. There basically is the center of the world, of the known old, quote unquote, old world. Africans might need Chinese goods. Chinese might need, you know, African goods. Asians, no, Europeans might need African or Southeast Asian goods. They all need to travel nearby, close or near the state of Israel and the state of Palestine. This is all about money here. It's not about religion. But see, with some of y'all falling for this religion. Hey, what's going on, Von Eric? What's going on with you? I'm not ignoring you. I'm not ignoring you, Vaughn. But I'm just gonna have to put this out here real quick. Okay. See, I'm going to have to put this. You know, we're going to have to tell the truth, because the truth matters. Not your religion. The truth matters. Not your race. The truth is not about your opinions. The truth is not about your sex, religion, your gender, your sexual orientation. The truth is the truth. So what I'm going to do, so there's some links in the description box, right? There's some links I got in the description box if y'all care to see it. But I've been sitting on this for a couple of days. What happened to my chat room? Oh, it's all okay. Yeah, I don't know if StreamYard's still messing up or what. I don't know if StreamYard's still messing up or what. I don't know what it is. Well, anyway, yeah, it's all good. Okay, so let me go ahead and drop this, right? Because I'm gonna read this little article here, and I'm glad somebody brought this up because I know that they're about. If you go to Iran or you learn about Iran, right? Right. What gets to me, I'm quoting George Golden here. What gets me is the fact that these same evangelicals will support the nation tend to be quite anti-Semitic. Right. Do y'all ever notice that? Do y'all ever notice that a lot of these evangelicals are actually anti-Semitic, but they won't let you say, well, bless Israel, God will curse those who curse Israel. They use that line to justify. You know what? I'm getting a little ahead of myself, y'all. George, Vaughn, and hold on, wait a minute. I forgot to put down the. I forgot to put this overlay down real quick. See, this is a story, right? An article straight from the state of Israel. Straight from the state of Israel itself. Because I even knew that Iran does have. Oh my God. Hold on. Let me fix that. Yeah, let me fix that real quick. Okay. Because everybody talking about they suppressing the people, blah blah blah. Well, here is an article from the Times of Israel. Is country at war with Israel, Iranian Jewish community walks a delicate tightrope. Now I'm not going to name all these names because I can't pronounce them. I can't pronounce all these names. All do not come on my channel talking about this is being anti-Semitic. This is not about anti-Semitism. Anyway, here's the article. There's no evidence that there have been many anti-Semitic attacks against Iran's 200 and 700-year-old Jewish community since Israel began its preemptive assault on the Islamic Republic nuclear and military sites early on June 13th. But there are fears that this could change as the fighting continues. Sources familiar with the community tell the Times of Israel. The Jewish people is probably going to face greater scrutiny than it usually does. Significant Steinfeld, author of Between Iran and Zion, Jewish Histories of the 20th Century Iran, and a teacher of modern Iranian history in the Department of History and Jewish Studies program at Penn State U. But there is a fear among the Jewish community that things are going to get worse, Steinfeld said. And still, since the fighting began last Friday, hundreds of strikes by Israel Air Force have hit Iranian assets. The IDF has said at least 639 people have been killed and 1,329 others wounded, according to the Washington based human rights activists on Thursday morning. It says that of those dead, it identified 263 civilians and 154 security forces personnel. Iran has not been given a regular death toll figures during the conflict and has minimized casualty numbers in the past. Its past update issued Monday put the death toll at 224 people killed and 1,277 wounded. Now, reports in the Hebrew press indicated that Israel Jews are less concerned about the crackdown by the regime, less about the fears of violence by vigilante mobs seeking revenge for Israeli attacks. However, it is not clear how likely that scenario is. But there are many Iranian Jews in Israel who said things like that. Said Avi Davian, I can't pronounce that word, expert on Iranian affairs and the editor-in-chief of the Times of Israel, her Persian language site. They hear about their aunt being afraid to go outside. They take it as a generalization reflecting the entire community. There is a war. There is a general threat, but there is no evidence of a specific threat to the Jews right now. The Jews in Iran, they enjoy a large degree of religious freedom and with religious ceremonies and rituals protected by the state. Wait a minute. Now, this is a newspaper in Israel. But I thought the whole thing was, well, they hate the Jewish people. So how can those of the Jewish minority living in Iran, which is heavily Islamic, how come they're not being forced into being Muslims? How come the Farsi people, the Persian people, the Persian Jews are not forced to be Muslim over there? You see, we got to be honest about certain things. We got to be yeah, exactly. Right. George said, blessed does not mean blindly support. I support the nation and has a right to exist and defend itself. However, if you're wrong, you're wrong. Right. See, a lot of these evangelicals, George, would try to use that line in the Bible. They use that line in Genesis as a way. What's going on? I see Queen Sunk is in the chat room, but they want to use that, right? They want to use that line to say, "Oh, let's just go. Let's just write a blank check. Let's give out a blank check, be carte blanche, and so that we can allow these outside people who moved into Palestine in 1947, well, actually 1918 rather, to take over, to brutalize the Arabs, and so that the white evangelical community can sit there. See, I see. Here's how I see it, George. See, I've been very skeptic of the evangelical community. I dislike the evangelical community, right? Because I see what they're trying to do. The current regime wants to colonize its neighbors under the disguise of peace. And when I'm talking about the regime, I'm talking about the Benjamin Netanyahu administration. And I'm only solely talking about his administration, based upon who is within his cabinet, who his security forces, the head of his military. If you look at the military heads of Israel, look at what they want. They want a grander. See, and then when you see Mike Huckabee, who became the U.S. ambassador to Israel, his envision is the Israel when David was king. Israel of the old days was bigger than, from when they talk about from the river to the sea, they're not talking about the Jordan River. When you look at the conservative part of the Likud party mantra, when they say river to, see, they always want to talk about the Palestinians, talking about river to the sea argument. No, they're not the one. The Palestinians not the only one saying that term river to the sea. River to the sea to the Palestinians means from the Jordan River to the Mediterranean. When it comes to the Likud party and those who back Benjamin Netanyahu, their vision of river to the sea. If you read their platform, if you read their manifestos, a lot of y'all ain't read the manifestos. I do. They want a greater Israel, and that's what the evangelical community in America, like Mike Huckabee, wants Israel to do. They want Israel to colonize everything from the Mediterranean all the way to the Euphrates, the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Okay? from the river to the sea. Now I want y'all to go back to y'all's Bibles, or those who, go back to your scriptures. How much land did David conquer? Israel was not, Israel and Judea was not just this sliver of land. They expanded eastward towards the Tigris River. That's what. So the evangelicals want that to happen because they trying to fulfill something. In the current administration that's running the state of Israel, they want the entire thing for the same reason, under the disguise of safety and peace. When in actuality, they're just colonizing dark-skinned people and pushing dark-skinned people out the way. That's what that is. Right. The fact that Ted Cruz used that passage and didn't know. Listen, George, I got to do that video on that. There's too many people around here using that quote about God will bless you. I'll bless those who bless Israel. Y'all see, if this is the reason why I'm tired of the conservative movement in America, especially these white Anglo-Saxons who come on the internet and try to preach that foolishness. And didn't I tell? I think me and Pure Butterfly Spirit was talking about what's his name on the. I reviewed a channel that talks about Christian naturalism, and this what the guy said. The same thing I told you. This reason why I'm anti-Trump. See, let me tell you what Trump did. Trump united the evangelicals, the manosphere, these manosphere nuts, and these whacked out libertarians. The extreme faction of the Libertarian Party, in order to have this, and eventually, I'm gonna tell y'all. You know what? Hold on. Let's just. I digress. Let me continue. Right. What I'm about to say. Let me continue what I was about to say, because yeah. Anyway, because I got more to say, but let me see. The Jews. We read the Quran. Now I forgot the passage in the Quran, because I remember I read some of the Quran when 9/11 happened. Now let me read this. What it says right here. The Jews in Iran say they enjoy a large degree of religious freedom and security with religious ceremonies and rituals protected by the state. Wait a minute. The believer that you got to protect and honor the people of the book. Don't tax the people of the book. When they refer to the people of the book, they're talking about the Bible, and they're talking about the Torah. They're talking about the Christians and the Jews, because they refer to the Jews and the Christians as the people of the book. See, like they don't want to talk about that part. If you let the evangelical community to talk, they won't mention that while they're sitting there going up in Florida, going up in London, and setting the Quran on fire. Anyway, let me read this part. Scrambled messages. Contact before. Let me see if I'm still up here. Let me see if I'm still here. Yeah. So, contact between the Iran's Jewish community and the outside world is generally sparse, easily leading to misunderstanding. Experts say communication lines are often tapped, and direct contact with Israel is strictly prohibited by the Iranian regime, so much that it is known is filtered through the official, quote unquote, Iranian channels. That makes it difficult to gauge the community's real sentiments. In recent days, several of the country's Jewish communities has published sharp statements condemning Israel. We ain't gonna sit there and say, just like what Tucker Carlson say, just because you're against Bibi Netanyahu and you don't like the state of Israel does not mean you hate Jews. Doesn't mean you're anti-Semitic. On Sunday, the Jewish community in Asfahan, I can't pronounce the name. Y'all forgive me. With an estimate 1,500 Jews said Zionist brutality is far from any human morality. In a statement published in the report on the state-run Islamic Republic news agency, right? So we are confident that the Islamic Republic of Iran, proud and honorable, will give a crushing and regrettable response to the Zionist regime and will make it regret its shameful actions, the statement said. A similar statement by the Tehran Jewish Association strongly condemns the Zionist regime brutal aggression on sacred soil of the Islamic Republic of Iran and the martyrdom of group of military commanders, nuclear scientists, and our beloved compatriots. While some believe that such are merely parroting the regime's agenda and bow the community's true standards, Cyprus said this is not necessarily the case. Now, I'm not going to read through the rest of this, but like I said, but anyway, we're going to go over here, right? I'm going to come over here. Because see, it's time to debunk a lot of this. This is about anti-Semitic. Hold on, y'all. Can y'all hear me? Yeah. I don't know what happened. I wanted StreamYard's doing this shit again. I don't know. Yeah. George said, bless those that bless and touch not my anointed are two scriptures often misquoted and misused. Yeah. Because if you see, I hate when people take the Bible, take the scriptures, and sit there and actually misinterpret it and take it out of context what was said. Because you had to put that part in context what was being said, according to what was going on in that time and period. Anyway, where were we at? So we're gonna go to another article. We can go to another article here, and this is one I want to talk about because I saw this too. And yes, the links is in the description box, by the way. In the city of its birth, Jews rejected Zionism. Among the Jewish people around the world, there's a growing movement that is challenging the pairing of Zionism with Judaism in Vienna, Austria, where the idea of modern political Zionism was born. Jewish organizers held of a first of its kind Congress to challenge the idea. This is June 19, 2025, and it's by Rebecca Coldward. Over the weekend in mid-June, about 500 people gathered in Vienna, Austria, for what organizers dubbed the city's first Jewish anti-Zionist Congress. Israelis, Jews, allies, activists, academics from around the world gathered under banners in German and English that read, "Stop Zionism. Judaism is not Zionism, and never again for anyone." Never again for anyone. I want y'all to look at this. They came to reject Zionism in the city, in the very city of its birth. In 1896, Doror, I can't pronounce his last name, a Jewish journalist, author, and Vienna resident, dubbed the Jewish state, arguing that Jews could only be truly safe in a country of their own. Wait a minute, doesn't that sound like the Pan-African? Let me shut up. I don't want to get no heat from the pro-blacks and the conscious community types because they use that same line. But anyway, let me shut up. Let me shut up on that. On the other side of the very stone stairway in Vienna's first district, a plaque memorizes he saw, I think that's how it's pronounced, as a man who had the bold idea for the foundation of the state of Israel. He isn't the first to advocate for an independent Jewish state, but he is largely seen as the father of the secular national Zionism. Wait a minute. How can you be secular and religious at the same time? No. Let's talk about this for a minute. How can you be secular and then be a nationalist for a religion? See, there is a contradiction in that. From the bottom of the steps, one can see the river Danube to Leopoldstadt, once a marshy land, which later became a densely populated Jewish neighborhood, in part because of the anti-Semitic persecution and expulsion of Jews from the center of Vienna Liverpool style, was also where Sertas family first settled upon arriving in Budapest, Hungary in 78 rather. He saw, I forgot. Held the first Zionist Congress in Switzerland in 1897, not in Vienna or Munich, as he had first planned. And Dr. Rabkin, a history professor at the University of Montreal, Canada, said that Esau's idea was met by three types of Jewish opposition. One, religious. One, against the idea that you can gather Jews in the Holy Land before the arrival of the Messiah. Rabkin said. Two, the Jews who are integrating into the European societies and did not want to hear that they don't belong there because Zionism had pretty much had the same message as anti-Semitism. And finally, there are people who consider Zionism to be a distraction from class struggle. Wait a minute. You know what? I see parallels. I'm gonna piss some of y'all off. I see parallels with this art, with that right there. I see parallels with the conscious community, with the people who call themselves pro-black, and the Pan-Africans. You know what? I'm gonna leave that alone. I don't put that to the side. I see parallels, but anyway, it just keep jumping at me. You know. Anyway, so yeah, he's talking about what happened in Vienna, Austria, is that they're having an anti-Zionism thing, and anyway, I'm sorry. Y'all got to blame nobody but Bibi Netanyahu. Y'all got to blame nobody but Bibi Netanyahu for all of your pain and suffering and the division within your own group. Now, we're going to stop here. We're going to stop here because I'm going to jump to something else. And I got to jump over here. I got to jump over here because Tulsi, you deserve what you get. Tulsi Gabbard, let me tell you something about myself, right? I actually tried to volunteer for the Tulsi Gabbard campaign when she ran in 2020. And let me put myself on the hot seat. I supported Tulsi because she was my age. Tulsi Gabbard and myself are about the same age. I want the millennials to elect their first president because the baby boomers have been fucking up. You know, the baby boomers have been fucking up ever since Clinton. All right. And I ain't just talking about Clinton. I'm talking Clinton, Tony Blair, you know, those who are baby boomers, you know, who rose to prominence within the last 30, 40 years in politics. They really fucked America up, though. Because they kept refighting the Vietnam War and refighting the 60s. That's why I have a problem with the baby boomer generation who was in, you know, who kept part of in American politics. You Dan Quayles of the world, Patrick Buchanan's and all that. But anyway, that's one of the reasons I backed Tulsi Gabbard. But Tulsi, she's tamed like dishwater her damn self. All right. So, oh man, I'm gonna put your comment down though, because I want people to see this. So Donald Trump, another baby boomer, drew Tulsi Gabbard under the bus. And this is just a short clip. I'll go ahead and play it.
Building a nuclear weapon, and Supreme Leader Khamenei has not authorized the nuclear weapons program that he suspended in 2003.
Okay, that was the end of the video, but let's play this again. Let's play it again.
What intelligence do you have that Iran is building a nuclear weapon? Your intelligence community has said they have no evidence that they are at this point.
Well, then my intelligence community is wrong. Who in the intelligence community said that?
Your director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard.
She's wrong.
The IC continues to assess that Iran is not building a nuclear weapon, and Supreme Leader Khamenei has not authorized the nuclear weapons program that he suspended in 2003.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Now, I read the report, right? Well, some of the report, because it's long. It's a long report. I don't got time to read all that. But as much as I read some of it, or the idea, or the summary of it, I should say. If somebody says we're not building we're not building new nuclear weapons, and there's been talk of having, and there's been nuclear facilities on that same country for 20 plus years, actually 30 years if you ask me. If you post Iraq, the first Gulf War, Iran start developing nuclear technology, after their war with Saddam. How come they didn't build a weapon yet? And a question I like to ask: if they had all this time from 2003 till today, why didn't they use one? Why didn't they use a nuclear bomb yet? See, we got to sit and think about this. See, when it comes to the Manhattan Project, right? The Manhattan Project, where German and British scientists went to America, went to Canada and America, grabbed African, they got African uranium. They took uranium, and let me say this too, by the way. Let me say this too. For everybody who know about World War II, the first battle, American battle, or I should say the first invasion, was not the Japanese islands after Pearl Harbor. The first thing the American army did was invade Northern Africa, where there's a lot of that yellow cake. They knew what they wanted. They knew about nuclear weapons, or how to create the bomb. Anyway, see. But the thing is, if you got 20 years of this technology, how come you didn't use it? And if y'all do have to, and let's say though, if this was, if they were friends with the Pakistans, how come they didn't inquire the outside countries to build one for them, like Pakistan? I mean, the South Africans, the Israelis got their nukes from South Africa. Maybe I'm going to too damn much. Maybe I'm going to too damn much. So if you killed most of your top military brass, you took out the facilities, you took out the Air Force, you took all of that out, y'all got to start asking the question: how come they didn't launch any of it, or put it on some boat somewhere and float it around round to the straight to the floated to the middle of the um Suez Canal, the Red Sea. Especially when you got America about to jump in. Why not test the bomb to demonstrate to the world to back the fuck off, just like how the North Koreans did? Soon as George Bush did that speech about the access of evil speech, North Korea tested a weapon to let him know and the world know, you're not just going to show up over here and invade. How come the Iranians hadn't done that? If they have since 1992 to 2003 and up till today, they supposed to have had this nuclear technology to make a bomb. And I listened to the news though today, and a couple of hours ago, and Donald Trump said he's going to have 2 weeks until he decides to bring America into the war. 2 weeks, right? I'm going to say this to you MAGA folks, and some of y'all MAGA folks who come on my channel, who come in my chat room. I wonder if y'all going to admit that y'all was wrong in 2024. I wonder if y'all going to finally admit that what's going on goes against the reason why you voted for him in the first place. Or is it because Kamala was a black female? Or supposedly black female? Or because of there were D's and R's next to somebody's name? I wonder if y'all going to start calling for the impeachment of Donald Trump, or call for the what's it called, Amendment 2022. Since Donald Trump is 78 years old, he's probably senile. Why not just go ahead and just do the whole, make him mentally unstable, declare he's mentally not there by a congressional vote using the 22nd Amendment of the Constitution. You can bypass the impeachment process. You don't have to impeach him again. Just use that as a compromise between those of us who want him out of here and y'all who want him to stay in. Well, he'll be president. He can't exercise the power to be president. He's just president in name only. If you use the 22nd Amendment, clause 3 of the United States Constitution. Or I hope I got the right amendment. Is it 22nd Amendment or is it 24th Amendment? I think it's the 24th Amendment. But anyway, yeah, just use the 24th Amendment on Donald Trump. You know, he'll still be president for at least, for the rest of his term. But every 2 months, reevaluate his mental state. I'll do that. That's better than tearing the country apart with another impeachment, a third impeachment trial. But hey, I'm leave that alone. I mean, hey, listen, I'm a thinking man. I'm a thinking man over here. In fact, let me see. Hold on. Let me be right. I want to be factual in what I'm saying. I want y'all. I ain't gonna just talk out of my ass, right? Like some of these mental idiots these Metzger clowns who talk out of their ass. So let me go ahead and no, I'm sorry, it was not the 24th Amendment. Sorry, was not the 24th Amendment. It was the 25th Amendment. Thank God, though, I went ahead and look it up without just talking out of my ass. Well, so what they should do, if Donald has a compromise to impeachment, has a compromise to the impeachment process, because who wants to go do that again? So let me go ahead and show you. Amendment 25. I suggest Amendment 25 removal to stop Trump. Now, Amendment 25, the 25th Amendment proposed by Congress to ratify by the states in the aftermath of the assassination of JFK, President John F. Kennedy provides procedures for replacing the president or vice president in the event of death, removal, resignation, in case this is the part right here I'm talking about, right? The Watergate scandal in 1970 saw the application of the procedures first when Gerald Ford replaced Spiro Agnew as vice president. Then he replaced Richard Nixon as president. Then when Nelson Rockefeller filled the resulting vacancy to become the vice president of the United States, and anyway, now we're gonna go. Now, it says right here, the removal of the president from office, or his death or resignation, the vice president should become president. Yeah, automatically, yes. Whenever there is a vacancy in the office of vice president, the president shall nominate a vice president who shall take office upon confirmation by the majority vote of both houses of Congress. Section 3. And I think this is where 3 and 4 is where I think, though, if you want to get rid of Trump, Section 3 and Section 4, I think, though, can be applied if he tried to go to war with Iran. But it might be some limited. It might be, Anyway, Section 3. Whenever the president transmit to the president pro temp of the Senate and Speaker of the House, Representative. Okay, that goes down to the vice president. Hold on. That's not it. Whenever the vice president and the majority of either the principal officers of the executive departments or such other body as Congress may by law provided transmit to the president pro temp of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives their written declaration that the president is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office, the vice president shall immediately assume powers and duties in office as acting vice president. So you can bypass the impeachment process. Say that again. You can bypass the impeachment process. And let me try to make this big here so y'all can read this for yourselves. Right? So I want to ask MAGA. I want to ask some of my MAGA supporters, like Kelly Ray and Mo McDowell. I wonder though, when Donald Trump start going against, I wonder if y'all gonna ask y'all congressperson to use Amendment 25 on Donald Trump. Section 4. I know y'all love Trump, but I think the only compromise to Trump to address Trumpism is to apply Amendment 25, Section 4 as a good compromise in case Trump decides to go to war with Iran. Declare that he's incapable, he has a mental disorder, and as your congressman to produce a resolution to declare the president unfit, mentally unfit to discharge his duties. But you know, I'm curious about this. Let's read the rest of Section 4. When thereafter the president, when the president transmit to the president pro tempore of the Senate and the Speaker of the House his written recommendation that no inability exists, he shall resume the powers and duties of his office unless the vice president and the majority of either the principal officer of the executive of department, which is the cabinet, the principal officers or the cabinet, or the other bodies of Congress may by law provide, transmit within 4 days to the president pro tempore and Speaker of the House that the president is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office. Therefore, Congress shall decide the issue, assembling within 48 hours for that purpose, if not in session, if Congress within 21 days after the receipt of the latter written declaration, or if Congress is not in session within 21 days after Congress is required to assemble, determines by 2/3 of vote of both houses that the president is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office, the vice president shall continue to discharge the same as acting vice president. Otherwise, the president shall resume the powers and duties of his office. So every 21 days, I use this as a compromise. If the Democrats were smart, and they are not, I'm sorry, the Democrats are not smart. They're too on this emotional rant. If the Democrats were smart, I wouldn't call for no impeachment. I'll just use Amendment 25. Keep on doing it. Because sooner or later, you'll peel off Republican support. There are some Republicans who will not impeach and remove their president, but they'd be more inclined to take away his duties. They'd be more inclined to take away his duties. Yes, take away his duties, y'all. But anyway, I'm gonna talk about this later on, probably tomorrow. I'm talking about this later tomorrow. But I'm glad though, y'all. I'm glad I'm here. I'm sorry I started this late. I'm gonna start the ball rolling on this topic. Anyway, go ahead and I'll put it right here. Go ahead and donate. You see it scrolling. Anyway, I'm out of here. Peace.
I am not here to debate with anyone. I have devoted all of my adult life to this subject. I only debate with my equals. All others I teach.